There are many people who would say the first of our two speakers is living proof of the saying that the best things come in small parcels. Because although she may be tiny in height, she has towering ambitions for this noble cause, which has been her life's work for the past 21 years. Ladies and gentlemen, would you please give a very warm welcome to the founder and president of the Rights and Humanity Organization, Julia Hausermann.
Well, we've had some wonderful speeches this evening, so I'm going to say very little. But I did want to say a very warm welcome to you all, to Your Excellency, to Ambassador. And I'd like to thank those of you who have hosted this evening. And I hope not, Chantal, you'd be very kind and pass on our very best wishes to the High Commissioner for a speedy recovery to health. So welcome to you all. And I wanted to start by saying a very great thank you to all those people who've made this evening possible, because there have been so many people who've helped in so many ways, and it's meant a great deal to me. I would just like to say a couple of things about rights and humanity. You've heard something this evening already, but I wanted to explain how we have been working to try and make human rights real in a very practical way. We talk about how to get the right to water out of the South African Constitution and into the glass. What do we actually have to do to ensure that the right to health is taken out of the hands of the privileged few and put into the community clinics? How do we realize the right to education so all children can be educated and achieve their full potential? And it may seem very simple. You think, well, surely that's what governments do. But actually, the human rights movement is really quite young. And over the last 21 years, we had to first of all start with getting people to recognize that these things were fundamental rights. And we're still fighting very hard to get it recognized in a world that everybody has the right to water. It's so obvious, isn't it? You assume that it's known, but actually we're still fighting that battle a little. So first we had to get it into the law and into the policy. But we've reached that stage where we're very excited, because now, 21 years on in Rights and Humanities history, we're embarking on a very exciting new program of work where we can get down to the nitty-gritty of how to make this real in people's lives. So our three programs that we're raising funds for tonight, you will have seen something in the program, are very exciting. The first is to look with our partners in Jordan and in South Africa how we can integrate these rights into not only public policy at the governmental level, but also into the service delivery. What it is that everybody has to do and how we can make these rights real. And we'll be focusing on water and healthcare, these fundamental basics. We work particularly on behalf of people living in poverty and social isolation. And this is really critical because if you think about it, we know an awful lot about the torture and inhumanity that is so often in the news. But we really need to think also about those people who are tortured by starvation, who are imprisoned behind the bars of prejudice and discrimination. So these people really need our attention and they need our help. And because they're not very visible, because they live in the slums, because they live in the shanty towns, they're not in the press, and people don't know about their suffering. And really this work, I think, is so important, is to give a voice to the voiceless. It's to empower people to help themselves out of poverty. And so I really do ask your support for our programs. The first one is to look at very practical toolkits that we can then replicate and give to other people. So whether it's a corporation or somebody in the media, whether it's a government or a service delivery agency, they can have a clear idea of what they can do to integrate rights into their work. The second program is very exciting indeed, and some of you may have seen some very interesting sketches done by our friend William Kreese of the Peace Center that we want to build in Jordan. This is very early days yet, and these are just impressions, but we wanted to give you a flavor of what we're trying to do. And the Peace Center will be a dedicated area where people can come on retreats to work together across all sorts of divides, to work for common solutions, and to learn to respect each other and to work in harmony across faiths, across nations, and across conflicts. And we're citing it in Jordan because of Jordan's commitment to peace, but also because of the significance in the region to building peace. The third project that I like to mention is back here at home, and it's to develop a centre of excellence here in London to provide a basis for our training and our consultancy services. Because although we all, and I know in this room, we all share a common vision, we all want to make the world a better place, but people don't always know how to do it. And we know, and some of you in the corporate world will have been trying very hard to integrate human rights and values into the boardroom. But getting it from the boardroom onto the factory floor or into the supply chain and looking at how you actually integrate human rights in practice in the corporate world or in the public policy world is more difficult. So we'll be running workshops and training sessions here. And the funds that we can raise from that will pay for the work we do on behalf of people living in poverty and social exclusion. So it's a very integrated program. And you'll see on the front of the program for tonight, the 3 words, think, unite, act. We find those very significant because really, if we're going to make the world a better place, if we're going to tackle the crisis of climate change and the impact that's likely to have on the most vulnerable people in the world, the poorer nations and the poorer communities, we have to think quite seriously. We can't just leave it and let it look after itself. We've got to think about it. We've got to work together. We've got to come up with a common strategy, and then we've got to act on it. And so we really would like to invite you all, not only to support us financially tonight, but to get involved in our work, because I fervently believe that if we all work together, we can make the world a better place. Thank you.